Hey Internet, so today I wanted to make a short video giving my thoughts on why food should be a human right and provide some of the general arguments that I have in support of my idea. So my first major reason has to do with health and fitness. Big companies oftentimes employ various processing methods that destroys the nutritional value of the food or uses chemical compounds such as antioxidants and oxygen absorbers to make their products have longer shelf lives. These same companies also use additives in certain processed foods, for example, to give their food a fresher and more colorful look. However, the issue with using these additives, especially in certain processed foods, is that if you use too much of them or if you overuse them for your products, they can contribute to health disorders such as obesity and eating disorders, and specifically with sugar, it can even cause you certain withdrawal symptoms. Similar to what we see in a lot of drug addicts, though a lot of these additives are restricted to more snack-based foods like gummies, chocolates, and cookies, as well as many others. Of course, many companies know this, especially companies that specialize in making junk food, which is why they make their menus specifically fat-rich, because fat activates signals in our brain which release dopamine, and dopamine stimulates our brain reward system, causing us to be addicted to the dopamine release mechanism, which leaves us wanting more. So, how does this relate to human rights? Well, put simply, my idea is that if access to food is considered a human right, then the exploitation of these addictive substances, as well as methods of processing our food, would be regulated not only by law but also furthermore regulated by human rights watch organizations. So if companies were to use these specific specific chemicals that activate our dopamine receptors, they would not only be, I guess if they were overusing them, they would not only be violating the law, but they would also be violating human rights, which could open them up to sanctions as well as asset freezes. And this would be just one of the other ways we can regulate uh, companies to be more responsible in in the sort of food that they serve us. My second idea is simply has to do with the fact that the world already seems to be moving in that direction. I mean, no country enjoys seeing their population suffer from hunger, especially when children are involved. There is a kind of moral repulsiveness that we feel when we see children dying from lack of access to food. Generally, like a while back, there was a proposal made to make food a fundamental human right, and the only countries that really sort of voted against it were US and Israel. So yeah, there does seem to be like a global agreement that access to food should be considered a human right. And I think the reason why there seems to be a general global agreement about making food a universal human right is because when you look at the data, there is a relationship between food insecurity and an increase in conflicts between like various countries. And you don't even have to look at the historical cases to see it. You just have to look at like Africa or the Middle East, where there's like literal water wars happening in these countries. And some of the historical cases even show that like when the population doesn't have access of food, there's a general decrease in stability and security. Some of the historical examples of this would probably be like the Boston bread riots or the potato riots, or probably like the best example would be what happened in Ireland with the Great Famine. All the research and historical sort of data shows that when people don't have good access to food, people do start gathering in the streets. So, yeah, those were some of my ideas on why I think food should become a human right. Um, I'll leave the sources of like the general sources that I found that kind of supported my ideas here in the description. And yeah, that's it for now, and I don't know what the next video is gonna be. Probably whatever I'm into. So yeah.